Well, in PEI this summer, my father decided that he would take the whole family over to the Fortress of Lewisburg. In his words, it was a great idea, and it's one of the most interesting places he's ever heard about. So imagine you're driving along the highway in this little tiny car with your three siblings in the back and your parents up front. Your sister, the camera person, decides to take pictures even if she has to lean across you. And by the time you get there, you're in such a bad mood that you just want to be home. Well, I tell you, it was disappointing. The fact that I was in a bad mood and didn't get lots of pictures done is really disappointing because this presentation about the fortress would have been interesting with some of those pictures from there.
Okay, so I, being from Nova Scotia and spending a lot of time in Cape Breton, have a lot of credentials to talk to you about this. And Brita, being a tourist, is good enough too. So, in 1745, New France was left with only Fort Louisbourg after the British had taken over Acadia and PEI. Lose my place all the time. Okay. So in 1745, during the War of the Austrian Succession, the British decided to capture New France again, and because all the walls were built really high seaward, but really low on the land, so it was really easy for someone to come in and take over from behind, basically. So they decided to capture it since it was rich in land and fisheries. In 1748, Fort Louisbourg was actually used as a bargaining chip for the treaty that ended the War of the Austrian Succession, and the British went home and left the French land peacefully. And then 10 years later, during the 7 Years' War in 1758, the British attacked again and destroyed the walls in hopes that there would no longer be a fortified French base here in eastern Canada. And after a while, after the walls were ruined and they left it for hundreds of years, they decided to rebuild the fortress because it is a big part of our Canadian history and a heritage.
From the time the end of the battle was finished till the 18th century, approximately 1961, the site of Fort Louisbourg was untouched. This reconstruction was the biggest one in Canadian history, and even though most sites they reconstruct most of the buildings, so that's like 80 to 90% of the place, Fort Louisbourg was only a quarter. And if you go there and you look at it and you imagine a quarter, it's not that much. But the buildings probably needed it after the long battle and all that stuff. So reconstruction began in 1961. From 1961 to 1981, approximately a quarter of the town site had been reconstructed. This project cost the Canadian government $25 million. So what was important about this reconstruction? Well, not only did it give people who didn't live during the 1740s and during that time, but also future generations a glimpse of what life would have been like in the 1740s. But also it shows the struggle between France and Britain. Right now, they go on the beach and dig up artifacts on the beach, which pertain to the battle. And when you're there, you can go up onto this hill. It's just outside of the town, not that far. Maybe you want to walk like 3 blocks when you think about it. And that's where they house all the artifacts they find on the beach. And not only do they house them there, but they also have the descriptions with them and videos about them. Also, in the fortress, you can go through many buildings. Some of them will be cut off to the public, but that's just because of safety concerns. But most of the buildings, you will go in and you will be able to go upstairs, downstairs, walk around, and learn about what life was like. And also in those buildings, they have items and kitchens that are open for the reenactors who work there to reenact what life would be like in the 1740s. So in the summer, if you go there, not only do you have this nice weather to enjoy, sometimes it rains, usually it's nice, but you would go up onto the hill right above the fortress, and right there is just like a little information center, and you'd buy your ticket to get on a bus, and the bus would take you all the way down to the fortress. Before you get across into the fortress, like on the drawbridge over the moat, you'd first have to go into this little building, and the person who is working that station would give you a brief overview of what is in the fortress, what you can get out of the fort, what you can get out of visiting the fortress, and sometimes they ask volunteers just to do common things like wear this heavy coat that maybe they might have to wear, or to reenact what it would be like if you were caught invading and how they treated the prisoner. So after that, you cross the moat on the drawbridge, and then you just explore. And that is by far the best experience anyone could ever have, because like you get to hear the music of what was in.
Hear the music of the 1740s.
Hear the music of the 1740s, and also they have reenactors running around with.
You get to live the heritage.
Yeah, you get to live the heritage. Thank you. Yeah. You get to live the heritage. And also there they have 3 authentic restaurants that are in working condition, so if you get hungry, you want a big meal, you just have to go to one of those 3 restaurants and eat there. But also they have gift shops and many other things. So really, in conclusion of this speech, why is Fort Lewisburg important for people to know about? Well, it was a really important battle between the French and the British, and with the British,
it was, well, New France really won the Fort Lewisburg because they got to keep it.
So then
the British just took over everything else. It's really just the basis of still having a fortified French base in Canada. It's a really big part of history. So our call to action is really just to learn about your heritage, visit Fort Lewisburg if you ever get the chance, and really understand why it's such a big part